Hey there, extraordinary treasurers. Our series on filing basics wouldn't be complete without a video on handling and storage of tithe envelopes. We all have them, but how they are stored can vary widely depending on the size of the church. Since we need to keep them for 6 years, and since the auditors need them every 2 years, storing them safely and in an organized fashion is important. First off, we want to minimize storage space, so tearing off the flap with all the donor info and discarding the envelope is the first step. Let's start with a very small church or mission group with 10 or less envelopes a week. After the deposit is made, I would simply staple the envelopes with the bank deposit slip on top of the stack to that week's loose offering count sheet and tithe verification form, like this. Then it can be filed in the deposits folder with the envelopes hanging down. Every week I would change where I stapled them so they don't pile up in one corner of the folder. The next week, they're in the middle. The next week, they're over on the right side. This makes for a lot more organized folder. Each week's paperwork would already have the offering date and total on it. Every time you finish one, drop it into the correct folder, and they will be in date order. For medium-sized churches with maybe 10 to 100 envelopes, you can stack the count sheet and the verification sheet together and wrap it around the stack of envelopes. Fold it in half, wrap it around your envelopes, and then you can just write on the packet the date and the amount of the offering and use a rubber band to secure it. And then this would go into your shoebox. Now once you have a whole month's worth of these, you can pack them up together and wrap a rubber band around the 4 or the 5 of them. And so each month is easy to find and they're all in date order. You can get a plastic box at Walmart, but you have to make sure it's at least 8 1/4 inches wide. They have one that's just the right size, but they also have one that's too small. So check on the end of it where it gives the measurements. It needs to be 8 1/4 inches wide in order to fit. If you have too many envelopes for one box, you can use 2 boxes in a year. For larger churches with multiple count sheets and other necessary papers, maybe from multiple services, you can staple all the papers together after the deposit is made, making sure that the date and the amount for the week is prominently displayed, and you can file them in date order in the monthly deposit folder. Then the envelopes for the week can get bundled together with a rubber band, along with a note telling the date and the amount on the outside of each bundle. A large box or file drawer would be needed for those storage. And that about does it for the tithe envelopes. When the end of the year comes, then what? Keep watching and you'll see.